The orchestra behind me, our final group this evening, is Symphonic Orchestra, made up of junior high students. That was La Media Noche, which is a traditional Puerto Rican carol that we got to play this evening. And we played it last night also over on the HSC High School stage as these guys were over there. We're going to continue on now with Winter Wonderland under the direction of Miss Walls. Okay, the next number we're going to do is another one of my personal favorites. It is called Cello Squadron. Every once in a while in orchestra, you have a very powerful, strong, gifted cello section. This is one of those years for us in this group. And whenever that happens, I like to pull this piece out. Cello Squadron is exactly what it sounds like. It's supposed to depict the cello players as superheroes. Right? And do you know that those capes from Amazon are coming tomorrow? They bumped it back a day, so I didn't get them in time to give them to you for this concert, but I will give them to you anyway as souvenirs. They had these amazing little capes that I had ordered, but of course you know how it is this time of year. Things get bumped back, so they're not here yet. But we'll get them to you nonetheless. So this next piece is Cello Squadron, featuring our very wonderful cello section. that's such a fun number. All right, I have a few people to thank before we go on to our last number. Again, I would like to thank Maddie McVeigh, our cadet teacher. I'd like to thank Zach Shiniak, the HSC High School Director. I'd like to thank our wonderful student teacher, Megan Wallace, who, by the way, would you come out here? She's been doing double duty this entire semester, student teaching not only with myself in the string world, but also with Mrs. Sydney Johnson, our choral director, doing both groups of ensembles. So she is very well prepared to teach either choir or orchestra. And I'm very pleased to say that she has passed all of her certification exams. She has passed student teaching. She is a teacher now. And it has been a pleasure having you with us. You have been such a great help, so we really appreciate you. And she's going on, I believe, to take a maternity leave string position over in Pike Township, so she will be teaching starting in January. She's going right back to the grind. So congratulations, Megan. Thank you again. I also want to take a moment to thank our administration. Mr. Tim Mankin is here, our principal in this building, very supportive of the arts, so thank you, Mr. Mankin. We appreciate you. Also a great sport to sit up here for that group placard thing. And I also want to thank all of you folks sitting out there. You're our supporters and our cheerleaders, and we appreciate you. This orchestra program is strong because you support it and because you appreciate it, and we certainly appreciate that as well. We're going to end this evening's performance with Twas the Night Before Christmas, and I'm very pleased. I believe this is the 7th year in a row that we have been privileged to have Mr. Marc Mullins, who works as an anchor at RTV6 News down in Indianapolis, and a very good friend of mine, to narrate this with us. So we'll end this evening with that. Would you help me welcome Marc to the stage, please? Right in front. There you go.
Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house, not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung with by the chimney with care. In hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. The children were nestled all snug in their beds, while visions of sugar plums danced in their heads. And Mama in her kerchief and I in my cap had just settled our brains for a long winter's nap. When out on the lawn there arose such a clatter. I sprang from the bed to see what was the matter. Away to the window I flew like a flash. Tore open the shutters and threw up the sash. The moon on the breast of the new-fallen snow gave the luster of midday to objects below, when what to my wondering eyes should appear but a miniature sleigh and 8 tiny reindeer. With an old little driver so lively and quick, I knew in a moment it must be St. Nick. more rapid than eagles his coursers they came, and he whistled and shouted,
"Yo, reindeer!"
and called them by name. Now Dasher, now Dancer, now Prancer and Vixen, on Comet, on Cupid, on Donner and Blitzen. To the top of the porch, to the top of the wall. Now dash away, dash away, dash away all. As dry leaves that before the wild hurricane fly, when they meet with an obstacle and mount to the sky. So up to the housetop, the coursers they flew. With the sleigh full of toys and St. Nicholas too. And then in a twinkling, I heard on the roof the prancing and pawing of each little hoof. As I drew in my head and was turning around, down the chimney, St. Nicholas came with a bound. He was dressed in all fur from his head to his foot, and his clothes were all tarnished with ashes and soot. A bundle of toys he had flung on his back, and he looked like a peddler just opening his pack. How his eyes, how they twinkled. His dimples, how merry. His cheeks were like roses, his nose like a cherry. His droll little mouth was drawn up like a bow. And the beard on his chin was as white as snow. The stump of a pipe he held tight in his teeth, and the smoke it encircled his head like a wreath. He had a broad face and a little round belly that shook when he laughed like a bowl full of jelly. He was chubby and plump, a right jolly old elf, and I laughed when I saw him in spite of myself. A wink of his eye and a twist of his head soon gave me to know I had nothing to dread. He spoke not a word, but went straight to his work, and filled all the stockings, and then with a jerk, and laying his finger aside on his nose, and giving a nod up the chimney he rose. He sprang to his sleigh, his team gave a whistle, and away they all flew, like the down of a thistle. But I heard him exclaim, for he drove out of sight, "Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good night."